Yeah, we're there for uplift. Yeah. And to spread the culture worldwide. That's the Caribbean.
Melbourne motivation gon' give you a sponsor. You know the vibes that they under. We dey do this from our answer. Come on,
Welcome back to Melbourne Motivation Radio Show on Irie Jam, and this is where we spotlight leaders and creators across the Caribbean diaspora who are building legacy through purpose and passion. Now, today's guest is a powerful visual storyteller whose work goes beyond what we see and taps into what we feel. Janelle Thomas is a Bahamian-born visual artist of Jamaican heritage whose paintings blend realism, surrealism, and emotional depth to explore the human experience. From being homeschooled and developing an independent creative voice to becoming an award-winning artist and author, her journey is both unique and inspiring. At this time, she's also competing on the national stage in the People's Artist Competition with a chance to win a major prize in global exposure. With that, Janelle, welcome to Melbourne Motivation Radio Show. How are you feeling today?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be talking to you. As I said there in the intro, you have a beautiful blend of Caribbean identity, born in the Bahamas with Jamaican roots, right? How did growing up in that environment influence your perspective as an artist? And in what ways do you see your Caribbean upbringing showing up in your work today?
Well, where I grew up in Bahamas is like a smaller island. On that island, it's like plenty of people are like artistic. So honestly, in the beginning, I kind of felt like there was no space for me, like to consider artistry as a career. But as I get to realize how much people had such artistic skills, I just realized that each person has their own niche. And so I just was moved to continue using art since it was my way of expressing myself. And, I think learning from both the Jamaican side and the Bahamian side, the simple way of living, my personal struggles that I went through, my family and I, just seeing those things, I think it kind of pushed me to express myself in art. And then now I'm actually working on a series that represents such way of living in the Caribbean.
It's interesting the way you said that. You said there's so much artists, like where you're from in the Bahamas. I've never heard that sentence ever. I can tell you there's a lot of athletes in my neighborhood, right? But not a lot of artists. But it goes to show a big difference. One of the things about your work is that it's deeply expressive, and you speak a lot about, the emotions of your work. And, for folks like me that honestly, I view art for the visual appeal of it. Many folks may not be familiar with the technical side of art. Can you just walk us through the style of art that you specialize in and what goes into bringing one of your pieces to life?
So I usually do portraits, but I venture into landscape. So I do sceneries. But with my work, I usually take like realistic elements and I add it with other abstract elements to kind of express whatever message it is that I'm trying to do. So sometimes people ask me, how do I get inspired? What do I think of to draw? Do I use a picture? Most of the time, it literally just comes to me. I'd be sitting down and I see a bird fly and I'm like, oh, wow, what can I learn from that? And I put it down into a concept and I'll paint it.
I love listening to artists because I'm always wondering, like, what do you see it? I see a bird fly and I go, oh, nice bird. But you see a bird fly, you're able to bring that bird to life in a different type of way. A question that I have, because when it comes to art, it's very relatable, the impact that art has, let's say, in our home or in a gallery. In your opinion, what role can art play in mental and emotional wellness, and not just for the artists, but for the people who are experiencing the artwork?
Well, for me as the artist, art has been a way of therapy for me. It was a way for me to express myself. Growing up, I was more quiet, I was more reserved, and it is kind of hard for me to verbally express myself sometimes. And so when I'm going through the emotions, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm overstimulated, or even anxious, because I do suffer from anxiety, it really helps, and it has helped. And so for those who are experiencing the art, I feel that it's a way for them to express themselves. It doesn't have to be technical, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. It can just be what you feel. You just get the brush and you get the paint or the pencil and you just let it out. I've done pieces like that. Whether or not I displayed it, I did it, and it really helps. And you can look back at it and you can think about how you felt in that moment, and maybe it can help you in future situations too.
I think that's a powerful message, Janelle, right? Our ability to use art as therapy, right? As healing for anxiety, right? For stress. I love that message, and I think it's a message I definitely want to reverberate for our listeners. And now I'm sure if I try that, Janelle, my pieces are not going to come out as good as your pieces, all right? But I'm going to try it, right? You're currently competing in the People's Artist Competition. Can you quickly just tell us about this opportunity and what's at stake, and how can our listeners support you through voting?
So with this, I honestly, how I found it, I just was scrolling. I was in the midst of looking for different art connections, looking for galleries, and I don't know, it just pops up. I was praying. I found it, but when I opened it up, it revealed that what we can get is we can get a chance to put our work in a magazine. I can get my work displayed in a museum that's connected with this program, and there's also a cash prize. And honestly, that would help in many ways. My family, it will help me to develop my artistic career. So it's a good opportunity, and I'm excited.
And when does voting start for this opportunity?
So the voting starts officially on May 4th.
And let's do this then, right? In what ways can our listeners follow you and support you, and where can they find that link to cast their vote so that you can win this competition?
So they can find that link to the voting page on my Instagram. Is at Janelle Inspires, so JANELLE_inspires, and right under my bio, there's the link.
Appreciate that. Well, Janelle, that is the time we have. Let me thank you for joining us today and for sharing your gift with the world. We're continuing to wish you the best with the People's Artist Competition, and we're looking forward to seeing your continued impact. We want to stay in touch with your journey, so I'm sure you'll be back here on Melbourne Motivation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Just want to thank my special guest, Janelle Thomas, one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Melbourne Motivation Radio Show. I'm your host, Miguel Anthony Melbourne, reminding you to stay motivated, stay inspired, and keep building your purpose. Connect with me at melbournemotivation.com, view past interviews, see who's next, or let me know if you know someone who should be featured. See you next week.
And it's a Melbourne motivation around the Caribbean, to uplift and assistance. We dey do this from a distance, yeah. No party, we dey do this the hard way. We keep motivating.